vain this day.
Masters of the Universe, 1987, promised the ultimate He-Man vs. Skeletor showdown. But behind the scenes, it was pure 80s chaos. From robot henchmen to a contest winner sneaking into the film.
Report, Evelyn. Speak!
We have sealed the gates to the city. The castle is secure.
The production was packed with strange decisions, wild mishaps, and moments fans never knew about.
Enough.
Here are 20 weird facts you didn't know about Masters of the Universe. Number 1. Frank Langella says Skeletor was one of his favorite roles. Frank Langella has played everything from Shakespearean kings to historical icons, yet he's often said Skeletor remains one of his absolute favorite roles. The reason? His young son was obsessed with Skeletor and begged him to take the part. Langella not only agreed, he went all in. He added layers of depth to the character, delivering a grand theatrical performance that made Skeletor more than just a cartoon villain in a skull mask. His booming voice, commanding posture, and intense monologues
Go through to this world where they are hiding. Find the key. Do as you wish with the others, but bring He-Man back alive.
gave the role a gravitas rarely seen in toy-based movies. Langella has joked in interviews that he felt free under all the makeup and prosthetics, which let him play bigger and bolder. Decades later, he still speaks fondly of Skeletor, calling it one of the most enjoyable and liberating performances of his career. Number 2. Gwildor was created because Orko was too hard to film. In the original Masters of the Universe cartoon, Orko was a floating, magical sidekick who added comic relief. But when it came time to bring him to the big screen, the production team quickly realized he'd be almost impossible to pull off in live action. The visual effects needed to make a small, floating, robed figure with expressive eyes were far too expensive for the film's budget, especially in 1987. Rather than cut the role entirely, the filmmakers invented a brand new character, Gwildor, played by Billy Barty. Gwildor served a similar function, quirky, humorous,
We did it! He-Man! Victory! Victory!
and tied to the story's magical tech, but was designed to be easier to film using prosthetics and practical effects. While fans of Orko were disappointed, Gwildor has since become a unique part of the movie's identity, representing the creative compromises needed to bring Eternia to life on a tight budget. Number 3. Skeletor's troops had to be robots. Thanks to Mattel, one of the stranger creative restrictions on Masters of the Universe came directly from toy company Mattel. They insisted that He-Man, their flagship hero, could never be shown killing a living being on screen. To get around this, the filmmakers redesigned Skeletor's forces to be entirely mechanical. Instead of battling familiar henchmen from the toy line, He-Man is seen slicing through waves of armored, faceless robots. This not only kept the movie in line with Mattel's no-killing rule, but also allowed for more action-packed fight sequences without worrying about censorship or upsetting younger audiences. The choice gave the film a unique aesthetic, blending sword and sorcery with science fiction, but it also frustrated some fans who missed seeing He-Man fight his classic foes. Still, the robot army became one of the most visually memorable elements of the 1987 movie's battle scenes. If you're enjoying this so far, hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome movie facts. And tell us in the comments, what movie brings you the most nostalgia, and which one should we cover next? Number 4. A real kid won a contest and became Pig Boy. One of the oddest bits of Masters of the Universe trivia involves the mysterious character known as Pig Boy. This wasn't a role cast through Hollywood agents. It was the prize in a nationwide contest run by Mattel. The winner, 13-year-old Richard Sponder, got an all-expenses-paid trip to the set and a brief on-screen appearance. Dressed in a strange pig-like mask and armor, Pig Boy is seen handing Skeletor his staff during one of the film's key scenes. The moment is so quick that many viewers missed it entirely, but for Sponder, it was the ultimate fan experience, stepping into the world of Eternia and standing face-to-face with Frank Langella's Skeletor. While Pig-Boy never appeared in the cartoon or toy line, this small cameo has since become a cult Easter egg for hardcore fans, immortalizing one lucky kid's brush with cinematic history. Number 5. Castle Grayskull interior was mostly matte paintings. While Masters of the Universe features a massive, imposing Castle Grayskull interior, very little of it was actually built. Instead, the production team relied heavily on matte paintings to create the illusion of grand, cavernous halls and towering columns. Only a handful of physical sets were constructed for the actors to interact with, mainly the throne area and a few walkways, while the rest was painted on large glass panels and combined with live-action footage. This technique saved a huge amount of money, as building a full-scale Grayskull set would have been far beyond the film's already strained budget. The result was surprisingly effective, with many viewers believing they were seeing a vast, real location.
Report, Evelyn. Speak.
We have sealed the gates to the city. The castle is secure.
Even today, the matte work stands out as one of the film's most visually impressive elements, blending fantasy grandeur with clever, old-school Hollywood trickery. Number 6. Dolph Lundgren did all his own stunts. Dolph Lundgren was determined to make his portrayal of He-Man as authentic as possible, which meant stepping into the action himself, literally. Instead of relying on stunt doubles for fight sequences, Lundgren performed nearly all of his own stunts, from sword fights to high-intensity combat scenes. This dedication added a raw, physical presence to the role, but it also came with risks. Lundgren reportedly suffered multiple minor injuries during filming, including cuts, bruises, and muscle strains, especially during the grueling final battle against Skeletor. His martial arts background helped him handle the choreography, but the heavy costume and long shooting hours made it exhausting work. While using stunt doubles would have been safer, Lundgren's commitment gave his performance a grounded realism, making He-Man feel like a true warrior rather than just a costumed hero. It's one of the reasons his portrayal still stands out decades later. Number 7. The director was a huge Jack Kirby fan. Director Gary Goddard has openly admitted that much of Masters of the Universe was influenced by the legendary comic book artist Jack Kirby, best known for co-creating characters like the New Gods and the Fourth World Saga. Goddard even envisioned the movie as a kind of tribute to Kirby's bold cosmic style, mixing larger-than-life characters, grand battles, and a blend of fantasy and science fiction. Skeletor's elaborate armor, the cosmic key, and the towering throne room all carry hints of Kirby's signature visual flair. While the movie was officially based on Mattel's toy line, Goddard's Kirby-inspired touches gave it a more mythic comic book feel. Unfortunately, licensing restrictions prevented him from dedicating the film directly to Kirby, but longtime comic fans can spot the influence instantly, making the movie a hidden homage to one of the most important artists in pop culture history. Number 8. Skeletor's makeup took over 3 hours a day. Transforming Frank Langella into Skeletor was no quick job. It required an intense daily makeup process that took more than 3 hours to complete. The effects team used layers of prosthetics, detailed paintwork, and custom facial appliances to create the character's signature skull-like face while still allowing Langella to speak clearly and deliver his lines with expression.
I am not in a giving vein this day.
The process was so time-consuming that Langella often arrived on set before dawn just to be ready for morning shooting. Despite the discomfort and heat from the heavy makeup under hot studio lights, Langella embraced it fully, believing it helped him inhabit Skeletor's menacing presence. He even stayed in costume and makeup during breaks, wandering the set to maintain the character's intimidating aura. The dedication paid off. Skeletor remains one of the most visually striking villains of the 1980s, thanks to both the design and Langella's commitment. Number 9. The movie nearly lost its ending due to budget cuts. By the time Masters of the Universe was nearing the end of production, Cannon Films was in deep financial trouble. The budget had been slashed repeatedly, and the climactic final battle between He-Man and Skeletor was in danger of being canceled altogether. With no money left for the elaborate sets and effects originally planned, filming was briefly shut down. Director Gary Goddard and the crew scrambled to come up with a solution, eventually deciding to shoot the fight on a dark, minimal set using dramatic lighting to hide the lack of scenery. This stripped-down approach turned out to be surprisingly effective, giving the duel an almost operatic feel. It's a rare case where a budget problem actually led to a more memorable moment, as the shadowy, stylized final battle became one of the film's most iconic sequences. Number 10. Dolph Lundgren's accent was almost dubbed over. When Dolph Lundgren was cast as He-Man, producers were concerned about his thick Swedish accent. They worried it might be difficult for American audiences to understand him, especially since He-Man was supposed to be the bold, heroic leader of Eternia. At one point, there were serious discussions about having another actor dub over all of Lundgren's lines in post-production.
Tila, I have no choice. This is our fight. I don't want innocent people to die.
Lundgren, determined to keep his own voice, worked extensively with a dialogue coach during filming to improve his clarity. In the end, his original recordings were kept, giving the character a unique sound that set him apart from typical 1980s action heroes. While his accent was noticeable, it added to He-Man's otherworldly presence, making him feel like someone truly from another planet, something a perfectly polished Hollywood voice might not have achieved. Number 11. Courtney Cox's big screen debut. Before Friends made her a household name, Courtney Cox landed her very first movie role in Masters of the Universe as Julie Winston, the Earth teenager who gets caught up in He-Man's battle with Skeletor. At the time, Cox was best known for appearing in Bruce Springsteen's Dancing in the Dark music video, and this film was her stepping stone into Hollywood. Playing Julie required her to handle both emotional scenes, like dealing with her parents' deaths, and high-energy action moments alongside Dolph Lundgren and Billy Barty. While the movie itself didn't perform well at the box office, it gave Cox valuable experience and visibility, leading to more prominent roles in the years that followed. Looking back, fans often see Masters of the Universe as the quirky, unexpected start to one of television's most famous careers. Number 12. Gwildor's band is called The Illusions. While Gwildor might be best known in Masters of the Universe as the quirky inventor of the cosmic key, the movie slips in a fun, easy-to-miss detail about his past. He used to be in a band, and not just any band, but one called The Illusions. This little nugget of backstory is casually mentioned and never explored further, leaving fans to imagine what kind of music a group of Eternian misfits might have played. Was it magical folk rock, cosmic synthwave, or maybe a bizarre mix of both? The name fits perfectly with the whimsical yet mysterious vibe of the character. It's one of those blink and you miss it facts that adds unexpected depth to Gwildor, hinting at a life full of strange adventures before he ever got tangled up in He-Man's battle against Skeletor. Number 13. First life form Eternians see on Earth? A cow. When He-Man, Gwildor, Tila, and Man-at-Arms first arrive on Earth via the Cosmic Key, they don't run into soldiers or civilians. They encounter a cow. In a moment of pure 1980s movie charm, the Eternians, unfamiliar with Earth's creatures, approach it with curiosity. Gwildor, ever the eccentric, even tries to communicate by mooing back at it, as if that might bridge the intergalactic language gap. The scene is brief, but hilarious, showing just how alien Earth is to the heroes, and giving the audience a lighthearted break before the action ramps up. It's also a rare moment of unscripted feeling comedy in a film otherwise packed with high-stakes battles. Over the years, fans have come to see the cow encounter as one of the most delightfully odd touches in the movie, a perfect example of its quirky, offbeat tone. Number 14. Beast Man is the only classic character in the film for a movie based on one of the most toyetic franchises of the 1980s. Masters of the Universe included surprisingly few of the original cartoon and toy line characters. In fact, out of Skeletor's evil warriors, Beast Man is the only one who came directly from the established He-Man universe. The rest of Skeletor's henchmen, like Blade, Saurod, and Karg, were brand new creations made specifically for the film. This decision was partly due to budget, and partly because the filmmakers wanted fresh villains to design costumes and fight choreography around. While some fans were disappointed that favorites like Trapjaw or Evil Lynn's usual allies didn't appear, Beastman's inclusion gave the movie at least one familiar face from the classic lineup. His feral look and snarling presence helped tie the film back to its source material, keeping a small but vital connection to the original He-Man mythos. Number 15. A reboot has been teased for years. the journey to bring Masters of the Universe back to the big screen has been almost as epic and messy as the movie itself. In 2004, action director John Woo was tapped to helm a reboot, but the project quickly fizzled. Years later, producer Joel Silver tried to push it forward, yet creative disagreements with Mattel kept it from gaining traction. Over the next decade, several other versions were announced, only to collapse before cameras rolled. The most promising attempt came when directing duo Aaron and Adam Nee signed on, with Noah Centineo cast as He-Man. Filming was even scheduled to start in Prague in July 2019, but repeated delays pushed the production back again and again. Eventually, Centineo left the project, leaving the reboot stranded in development limbo, just another chapter in the long, frustrating saga of trying to revive Eternia. Number 16, the movie had a post-credits scene before it was cool. Decades before Marvel turned post-credit scenes into an industry standard, Masters of the Universe pulled off its own surprise ending. After He-Man defeats Skeletor, sending him tumbling into a massive pit, the story seems wrapped up. Most audiences in 1987 probably left the theater once the credits began, but those who stayed were treated to a shock. In the final moments, Skeletor's head emerges from the pit's waters, and he stares directly at the camera, breaking the fourth wall to declare, "I'll be back." It was a clear setup for a sequel that, sadly, never materialized despite multiple attempts to greenlight one. At the time, it was an unusual, forward-thinking move, one that hinted at a larger cinematic universe years before Hollywood embraced the concept. Number 17. Sets were torn down during filming. The troubled production of Masters of the Universe reached a breaking point when Canon Films' financial problems started to spiral. Midway through filming, the studio began dismantling sets before the movie was even finished. This wasn't part of the plan. It was a desperate cost-cutting move as Canon scrambled to stay afloat. For the cast and crew, it created massive challenges, especially during the final battle sequence. Director Gary Goddard had to quickly rewrite and restage scenes to work around missing sets, sometimes relying on clever lighting and tight camera angles to hide the gaps. Incredibly, they managed to finish the movie despite literally losing parts of Eternia in real time. It's one of the clearest examples of how the production's behind-the-scenes chaos directly shaped what audiences ended up seeing on screen. Number 18. The musical score had many problems. The music for Masters of the Universe was meant to be a grand, sweeping score to match the epic scope of the story. Composer Bill Conti, famous for his work on Rocky, was brought in to deliver that big sound. But production troubles followed the music department too. Budget cuts and scheduling issues forced Conti to work under intense time pressure, recording much of the score with a smaller orchestra than originally planned. Despite these hurdles, he managed to create a bold, adventurous soundtrack. Still, sharp-eared fans can detect rushed arrangements and reused cues, a reflection of the film's chaotic production. Number 19. He-Man is Dolph Lundgren's least favorite role. Masters of the Universe marked Swedish actor and martial artist Dolph Lundgren's first leading role, coming right after his breakout performance as Ivan Drago in Rocky IV. Physically, Lundgren was a perfect fit for He-Man, tall, muscular, and commanding on screen. However, acting in English was still a challenge for him at the time, and critics felt he lacked the dramatic range to carry such a big film. Lundgren himself has since admitted that it's his least favorite role, citing the script, production troubles, and his own inexperience as factors. While the movie has gained a cult following, Lundgren remains his own harshest critic. Number 20. Dolph Lundgren called filming a nightmare. In a French magazine interview, Dolph Lundgren described making Masters of the Universe as a nightmare, citing a grueling 5-month shoot that included 2 months of night filming. He was even approached about a sequel during production but turned it down. Years later, while promoting The Expendables, 2010, Lundgren said he'd be open to returning for a new Masters movie, either as He-Man again or in a cameo role. And that's our list of 20 weird facts about Masters of the Universe. 1987. From torn-down sets to surprise post-credit scenes and Dolph Lundgren's mixed feelings, this cult classic had as much drama behind the camera as it did on screen. Whether you love it or love to laugh at it, one thing's for sure: Eternia has never been this wild.